Hey, welcome back. All right, so in this tutorial, we are going to use the platform that we made in the previous tutorials, and we're going to make it move. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about. Jump right into it. All right, so in this scene, I have my moving platform, and I'm using a spline to set how far I want it to move. If I hit play, and I roll into the platform, and then I hit E for my interact, it'll move up and down. It'll move up. And if I wait a few seconds, it'll move down automatically, or I can hit the E key again and interact to make it move down. Now, this is an interactable platform. The first platform we're going to make is an automatic platform that's going to automatically move. And let's go ahead and jump into that right now. All right, so in this scene, we have our platform that we made last time, but we're going to go ahead and make a blueprint version of it instead. And we're going to make it in the interactables. I'm going to right click, create a blueprint class. It's going to be an actor. And I'm going to call this BP underscore auto platform. And then I'm going to double click and open that up. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to use the platform that we created. So I'm going to hit add for right here, and I'm going to find a static mesh, not the skeletal mesh. We want the static mesh, the one with a little cinder block. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to call this SM underscore platform. And over here, under the static mesh choice, where it says none, I'm going to hit that and type in SM underscore, and I'm going to look for my platform that I made. This was platform number 4 for me. And select that. And there we have it. So there's the platform inside the blueprint. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to add a spline. So I'm going to hit the add button, and I'm going to type in spline. And we want the one with the little curvy line here, the utility spline. And that's going to give us that. I'm going to just hit enter. Now, we do not want it to be a child of the platform. We actually want it to be here on the scene root. So we're going to click and drag it, and we're going to select attach. And now they should be equal. If it were a child of the platform, when the platform moves, the spline would move with it. We actually want the platform to move along the spline, so we don't want that to happen. So we're going to go ahead and hit compile, and I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to go over to the event graph. And for this automatic platform, we're going to want to use the event begin play. So I'm going to click and drag that over to here. And the first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to create a custom event, because when the event begins to play, we're going to call move platform. And you'll see why we're going to do that here in a few minutes. But also, we're also going to later on get rid of the event begin play in a different setup and make it so that we can move into a volume, and then similar to how we did the cannons. So when the cannons only fire when the player is in the volume, we're only going to want the platforms to move when the player is inside the volume. So we're going to eventually get rid of this event begin play so that it doesn't sit there and play the entire time, even when the player is not near it. So we're going to right click, and we're going to create a custom. And we're going to get add custom event right here at the top. And this one we're going to call move platform. I'm just making it all one word. And I'm going to drag this down to here, because we are going to end up using that. But at the event begin play, we're now going to call move platform. So we're going to call that function move platform right here. So now once we begin play, we're going to call this move platform. And what we're going to have to do first is we're going to need to create a timeline, because the first thing we're going to do after we call the platform is we're going to start moving that platform, and we're going to need to set the play rate. But in order to set the play rate, we actually have to have the timeline created first. We're going to right click, and we're going to type in timeline. And we don't want to add timeline component. We actually want to go all the way to the bottom and find add timeline. And we're going to call this timeline move underscore platform. Okay, now we have our move platform. And if we take a look over here under our variables, and yours may be closed. So right here where it says components, if it's closed, hit that down arrow, and you'll see that we have our components, and we've just added in, if we hover over it, this timeline component called MovePlatform. We click and drag, we're going to get MovePlatform, and it represents this platform right here. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set the time that it's actually going to play. So we're going to drag out from here, and we're going to set play rate. Okay, and when we do that, we get this selection here. What we're doing is we're going to set how fast this timeline plays. So let's go ahead and go in and set up this platform timeline before we do anything else. So with it selected, double click on it, and it'll open up. And what we're going to want to do is up here where the track is, we're going to want to hit the plus button. Well, let's change the length to 1 first. And we're going to want to hit the track button here, and we're going to add a float track, and we're going to call this Move Platform. I'm just going to make it all one word there. And so now we have this float, and we're going to need to put in a couple of keyframes in here to get this set up the way we want it. So I'm going to right click in here, and I'm going to add a key to curve float. And this first one, with it selected, it should be blue. We're going to make the time 0 and the value 0. And we're going to hit enter, and it's going to push it down to there. We're going to right click again. We're going to get another one. With it selected, we're going to change this time to 1 and the value to 1. And hit enter. Now, I'm going to click in here and hit F, and that's going to frame it so that we can see the whole timeline here. But it's a straight line. What's going to happen is it's going to immediately go at 100% speed right at the very beginning all the way to the end, and it's going to come to a sudden stop. We don't want it to work to do that because in the real world, physics doesn't quite work that way. It takes a little bit of time for it to actually ramp up to speed and then to ramp down to speed. So it's called an ease in and an ease out. With this first one, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to right click. I'm going to select auto. And over here, I'm going to make sure that this one is also set to auto just for the sake of it. Even though we got the ease in, ease out curve we wanted, I want to make sure that it's all complete. I'm going to hit compile. Now, if we go back into our event graph, take a look. Right here, it says Move Platform. That's that float that we just added in. And we're going to use that to help drive our blueprint here in a few minutes. So now we've got basically the basic components set up, but we are going to need a variable. So we're going to hit the plus sign here, and we're going to call this time for movement. And what this variable is going to be is it's going to be a float. We're going to change it from a boolean to a float, and we're going to open the eye on it so we can actually see it inside of our blueprint. And I'll show you where we'll see that in a few seconds. So I'm going to hit compile, and for the time for movement, I'm going to change this to 5, and this is going to be in seconds, okay? And in order to make it so that it actually works in seconds, we're going to need to grab this time for movement. We're going to get that time for movement. And for this, we're actually going to right click and I'm going to type in divide. I'm going to plug this in the bottom one. And we're going to take whatever time this is, and we're going to divide 1. So this is going to be a hard code in here. And we're going to plug this into here. So we're going to divide whatever this amount is. We're going to divide 1 by whatever that amount is. And that's going to set our play rate for our platform over here. All right, so let's go ahead and start connecting some of this stuff up to make it work. So we're going to take this, and I'm going to plug the call. So when we call it, we're going to start this. We're going to set our play rate. And this time for movement will be something that we can adjust inside the blueprint as well. And then the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get a flip-flop. So I'm going to pull out from here, and we're going to do a flip-flop, okay? And the reason why we're going to use a flip-flop is because it calls A first, and we're going to want to play our movement. And then once it's done, the next time we call it, we're going to want to do a reverse. Take our spline, and we're going to drag it out to here, and we're going to need to get some information for our spline. We're going to need to update the position of our platform along that spline, and we're also going to need to know how long this spline is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drag out from here, and we're going to get location at distance along spline. And that's going to allow us to update the position of our platform along that spline. And we're also going to want to get spline length. Okay, I'm going to drag this out just a little bit here. For this, we're actually going to need a lerp because we're going to update the distance using this here, okay, using our move platform. So let's go ahead and right click and type in lerp. So I'm going to plug this in and select that. I'm going to drag this out just a little bit further. I'm going to take the return value and plug it in here. Now what this lerp does, if you hover over it, see how it says that it does 100% of A when alpha equals 0, or it does 100% of B when alpha equals 1. And if you remember, we set our platform up so that we have a 0 and a 1 for our max, and there's distances along it, right? So it'll vary the amount of weight between 0 and 1, so between alpha and bravo, so between A and B. So if I take this and plug this in as the alpha, it will adjust the length that we're moving based off of our spline length. It'll adjust our movement of our platform along that spline based off of where we are in our timeline along here, if that makes sense. Hopefully I'm not losing you. All right, so the next thing we're going to need to do then is we're going to need to actually update the world location of our platform. So this is where we're going to click and drag out our platform, and we're going to drag off of that, and we're going to set world. We're going to want set world location right here. And we're going to use this as an update. Okay, so we're going to update that. And I'm going to try to make things look kind of neat here. This right here, we don't want local coordinates. We want to change it from the local coordinate space to world coordinate space because we're changing world location here. I'm going to click and drag and connect that spline, or connect this output to this input right here. So now we have our set world location being updated there. And the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make it so that this will make it so our platform moves up. And then when it finishes, we're going to want to have it reverse. But we want this to go back and forth, right? This is a moving platform that's supposed to go up and down, up and down. If you only wanted it to go in one way, your player would have to be right there when it started moving, and it would only go that one direction, and it would be done. If it's finished, we're going to wait for a few seconds. So we're going to do a delay. And maybe we'll do a delay of 3 seconds. And then we're going to call this same move platform. So we could hit Control D and duplicate it. Or you can just right click and type in move platform, and then we're going to call move platform again. It'll come back here, it'll call this, and then since it did A the previous time, it'll do B the second time, and it will reverse and go back down. So let's go ahead and hit compile and save what we got so far. There's a couple more things we may need to do, but let's see where we're at right now. So I'm going to go into content drawer. I'm going to take this auto platform, I'm going to drag that blueprint and click it and drop it right there. Now, if you take a look, we have our spline right here in the middle. I'm going to select the top part of the spline right there. I'm going to hit W on my keyboard or select my move button up here. And I'm going to drag this up, kind of drag it over like this a little bit. And when I do that, you can see that over here is telling me what my select points are. So I am going to change this to 90. And make sure the bottom one is also at 90. Should be completely straight up and down. May have broken it. All right, I'm going to select this top one, drag it up a little bit. It looks like I may have curved it just a little bit. We'll see what happens. I'm going to drag this up a little ways. All right, I'm going to select the platform as base again, and then over here I'm going to select the top level, and right here is where we can change the time for movement. Right now it's set at 5 seconds. I'm going to change it to 10 seconds to get it to slow down just a little bit, and I'm going to hit play and see what happens. All right, so it should move up, should get to the top and wait for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and then it should move back down. Now we didn't put a delay in for the bottom, so it should pretty much hit the ground. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put a loop in. Oh, actually I don't have to, because it's going to keep calling it every time it finishes. So, and there is a delay, so that works out. Now I'm thinking about it. We do have a delay of 3 seconds for both the top and the bottom because we put that in on the finished. So we wait for 3 seconds and then it calls again. And because it flip-flops, it does one direction and they'll do the other direction. So I should be able to jump up over onto here. And ride it up and down like an elevator. We can also set it up so that we can, if we wanted to move it horizontally, so I can click one and drag one out here. I should be able to select it and rotate the entire platform. Maybe something like 90 degrees. And I'm going to move this up. So maybe it would kind of go from one wall to another wall. Now I'm going to select that spline and drag it out. Something like that. Change the time to maybe 15 seconds. Because you don't want it going so fast that you're just going to throw your player off, right? You want it to be able to be nice and smooth. So now if I hit play, that platform should roll across the sky like that. Of course, there's no way to get onto it right now. It's moving along pretty good, though. Kind of a long distance, and it's moving pretty fast. All right, so that's going to be it for this tutorial. We got the platform in there, and we got the basics of our blueprint started. Again, if you're having any issues, please put a comment down in the comment section. Ask the question. I'll come in and help you out. If you like this tutorial, please don't forget to hit the like button. Help me out. And don't forget to subscribe so you can follow along with this tutorial. I'll see you next time, and thanks for playing.